They said she left her heart in Cousin's Beach. But that wasn't the whole story. Because one summer night, under the Paris sky, Belly met Conrad again, and this time, the city kept their secret. The rain had just stopped when the city began to glow. Paris wasn't loud tonight, it whispered. The streets shimmered like they were dipped in gold, and every rooftop felt like it held a memory. Belly stood there, her hair a little wet, her breath a little shaky, and her heart racing in a rhythm she thought she'd forgotten. Somewhere below, people laughed, cars passed, and music drifted through open windows. But up here, it was quiet. Too quiet. She didn't come here looking for him. At least, that's what she told herself. But when she turned around and saw Conrad standing under the soft light of a street lamp, it felt like the air forgot how to move. No words, no plans, just the kind of silence that means everything. His eyes were still the same, a little tired, a little lost, but still the ones she once trusted more than the sky itself. He smiled. Just barely. Like he wasn't sure if he was allowed to. And in that small moment, the space between them disappeared, not with touch, not with words, but with understanding. They both knew it wasn't supposed to happen. Too much had changed. Too much had been left behind. Yet here they were, two hearts that couldn't stay strangers, even after all this time. Paris became their secret. A city that didn't ask questions. A city that let them remember without explaining why. The Eiffel Tower shimmered in the distance. But it wasn't the lights that mattered. It was the way her reflection looked in his eyes. Maybe it was the magic of Paris, or maybe some stories just don't end where they're supposed to. Maybe they just find new rooftops, new skies, and new chances to begin again. The night wrapped Paris in gold and silver, the kind of glow that only belongs to secrets. The rooftop was quiet except for the hum of the city below, and the soft flicker of candles that fought against the wind. Belly stood by the edge, her fingers brushing the cold railing, her heartbeat loud enough to drown out the noise of the streets. She didn't plan this. She didn't plan him. But somehow, Conrad always found a way to stand where her thoughts ended. He walked closer, slow and unsure, the way someone walks toward a dream they're afraid might vanish. Between them sat two glasses. A small bottle of wine and a folded napkin that read, "For old times?" She laughed softly when she saw it. That same shy laugh that once made him believe summer could last forever. His eyes met hers, and suddenly the rooftop wasn't in Paris anymore. It was Cousin's Beach all over again. The air smelled of salt and rain, the kind that holds memories instead of washing them away. They didn't talk much. They didn't have to. Words would have only broken the magic. Instead, Conrad picked up a piece of bread and offered it to her like a peace treaty. She accepted it like forgiveness. The sound of an accordion drifted up from the street below, slow and sweet, and for a moment, the world forgot who they were, two hearts stitched together, then torn apart. Now beating in time again, Belly leaned against the table, the city lights painting her face in gold. "You still hate goodbyes?" she asked quietly. He smiled, a real one this time. "Only when they mean forever." The air thickened. For a second, she almost believed this night could rewrite everything, that maybe love didn't need perfect timing, just the right sky. But Paris isn't a place that promises forever. It only gives you one perfect night, and the kind of memories that never fade. As the wind blew out the last candle, Conrad whispered something soft, so soft the city had to lean in to hear. And just like that, the rooftop became their secret chapter, the one no one else would ever read. The night had thinned into silence. The candles were gone, the wine forgotten, but the weight of what they didn't say lingered in the air like perfume. Belly watched the city breathe beneath her, the headlights tracing stories across wet streets, the laughter of strangers echoing off old walls. She wanted to hold this moment, fold it like a letter, hide it somewhere safe. But even Paris couldn't protect a heart that still beat for the past. Conrad stood behind her, hands in his pockets, eyes on the sky instead of her. He looked calm, but the kind of calm that breaks before dawn. Every time he blinked, she could see the storm behind it. Memories, regrets, the thousand things they'd never said. "You ever think about us?" she asked softly, like a secret too heavy to keep. He laughed under his breath, that same half-sad sound that used to make her ache. "Every time it rains," he said, the words hung between them, fragile as glass. Belly turned, searching his face for the boy she once knew, the boy who made her summers glow. But now he looked different, older somehow, like someone who'd learned that love doesn't always stay just because it's real. She stepped closer, and for a moment, their reflections met in the glass window behind them, two silhouettes that almost touched. Almost. He reached for her hand, hesitated, then pulled away. "We can't keep this, Belly," he whispered. "Paris isn't ours. It's just pretending for us." She smiled sadly, tears glimmering in the candle's dying light. "And then let's pretend a little longer." A gust of wind swept through, carrying her scarf off the edge of the building. It fell slowly, like a piece of them drifting away. Maybe that was their love, something beautiful, but never meant to land. As dawn crept closer, the magic of the night began to fade, but the ache it left behind, that stayed. When she finally turned to leave, she didn't look back. Neither did he. But both of them knew, no matter how far they ran, Paris would always whisper their secret back to them. Morning crept over Paris like a secret trying to find its way home. The rooftop shimmered under a pale golden light, and the air felt softer, the kind of quiet that comes after everything has been said, and yet nothing has really ended. Belly sat alone at the small rooftop table, the one where laughter had lived just hours ago. The candles had burned out, leaving only melted wax and a half-empty glass. Across from her, Conrad's chair was empty, but his presence still lingered in the air. Like a ghost the city refused to let go of. Down below, Paris was waking up. The sound of clinking coffee cups, distant bells, and a song playing from a bakery radio rose through the streets. Life was moving on, and maybe she was supposed to, too. But as she looked out toward the Eiffel Tower, something inside her whispered, "Not yet." Because last night wasn't just another evening. It was a moment carved between time, a memory that would hum quietly in the corners of her mind. Long after the world forgot, Belly reached into her bag and pulled out a Polaroid, the one they took before he left. It was blurry, their faces barely visible, but it didn't matter. You could still see it, the way he looked at her, the way she smiled like she finally understood what goodbye really meant. She placed the photo on the table, weighed it down with a coin, and smiled faintly. Paris could keep it now. Maybe some stories weren't meant to be retold. Maybe they were meant to be felt, once, deeply, then set free. She stood, the wind brushing her hair across her face. Somewhere in the distance, the clock struck 8. The city glittered in the morning sun, and for the first time in a long time, Belly didn't feel lost. She felt grateful for every summer, every mistake, every version of love that taught her how to let go. She walked away. Her footsteps faded into the hum of the waking world. The rooftop stood empty again, but if you listened closely, you could still hear it, the echo of laughter, the whisper of their names, and the soft promise of a love that didn't need forever to be real. Because some stories don't end when the summer does. They just learn to live quietly in the heart like Paris after the rain.